Hey guys, what's up? Sarah here with yet another devlog video. This time around, I've been working on crafting strategies. I know it's something that a lot of people are wanting to have before they migrate to Lisbeth 3. So these past couple of days, I've been working on the new crafting strategies, and they've been turning out pretty well. So I'm going to be showing you a little bit about where Lisbeth 3.0 is right now in terms of crafting. Um, Well, basically, they are working now. There's two crafting strategies right now. Um, one of them is mostly for leveling up. Both crafting strategies can be used from level 1 to 70. They are completely general in that sense, with the exception that the second crafting strategy, which is a little bit better, I'd say a lot better actually than the first. That one actually requires you to know Bargot's Blessing and at least any of the careful synthesis skills. So either careful synthesis 1, 2, or 3, right? So as long as you know those two skills and you can cross-class them, you have enough slots, then Elizabeth will automatically pick the better strategy. But if you don't have those skills, it'll pick the first strategy, which is, it's decent. It's just touch and go, based on hasty touch if you have it. But again, these strategies can be used from level 1 to 70, and Elizabeth will pick the better versions of each skill. So for example, hasty touch, it'll pick, if you don't have hasty touch, it'll instead use basic touch. If you have hasty touch 2, it'll use that. You get the idea. It always picks the better skill. It picks the master's mend that corresponds to the durability of your recipe and so on. This time around, the strategies are also more intelligent in picking cross-class skills. How it works is that they have a priority, and depending on how many slots you have available, because remember that Lisbeth is used by people that might be level 1, might be level 15, 45, 70, right? So depending on how many cross-class slots you have, the strategies now prioritize certain skills. So, for example, the Verbolero strategy will prioritize slotting in careful synthesis. It'll then prioritize slotting in what was the other one? Hasty touch. And then if you have more slots, it'll slot in steady hand 2, tricks of the trade, and so on. And they are more intelligent about it. For example, if you're a weaver, a level 15 weaver, and no careful synthesis natively, then they won't worry about slotting it in because the strategies know if you have to actually slot in as a cross-class skill one of their skills. So, for example, if you're a weaver, you don't have to cross-class skill careful synthesis, so the strategy won't waste a slot for that, and instead will slot the other skills in. The same goes if, for example, you are level, what, I think it's 62, where when you learn careful synthesis 3, then if you have careful synthesis 3, the strategies just won't slot any of the other careful synthesis and instead use that slot for other skills. So basically, these strategies are very general. That's the biggest advantage over macros. So macros do have their place, if you're very high level and you have a very simple macro that 100% HQs, level 30 recipes, then a macro might be the best thing to do because these strategies again rely or well are based around hasty touch, and as you may know, hasty touch is never going to be 100% chance to land. So it could be, for example, that you're level 70 and you're crafting a level 20 recipe, right? And the strategy will start to use hasty touch, and you're so unlucky that every single hasty touch, even with steady hand 2, every single hasty touch just doesn't land. And then Elizabeth is going to go, oh crap, well, I guess we're going to NQ this recipe. So, the strategies are general, they're very powerful, they're usually more powerful than macros, but they are never 100%, right? There's always that small chance, even if it's small, that you're going to fail HQing the craft. Now, they should never fail completing the craft. That's the first priority of every strategy, of both strategies, is to complete the craft, then worry about quality. We get the idea. The biggest benefit of strategies compared to macros is that strategies work for any level combination, any recipe combination, any stats combination, any cross-class skill combination, any cross-class slots available combination. They are completely general, so you don't have to have 1,000 macros on your folder just to craft, everything that could be necessary to craft. But macros still have their place. If you know what you're doing with them, you might as well use them. And right now, especially since both strategies, which is Ver Bolero and Ver Minuet, they are not using the full potential of your skills yet. Mainly Manipulation 2 and Prudent Touch. I'll be making a new strategy after these two are tested that uses Manipulation 2 and Prudent Touch. It should be more powerful than Ver Minuet. But for now, these two should accomplish, crafting sub-orders, leveling up, and so on. So let's take a look at it. Let's add some food, just because. Let's add some medicine. Let me see if I have medicine. I think I do. Yeah. Craftsman's tea. Alright. So let's just make one quickly, I guess, to show you how it looks like. Eating the soup. Nope. Do not use medicine, huh? Let's just remove that. I guess I have to fix that one day. Alright, so you'll see here it says using Ver Minuet. Removing 0 cross-class skills because I had all the necessary ones. Well, I had 0 cross-class skills actually. And it added the necessary cross-class skills in the order of priority. It's just starting to craft. Now, Ver Minuet is a Virgot finisher strategy, but it uses, I mentioned it's based around Hasty Touch, right? So it's using Hasty Touch too, you can see it here. But sometimes it'll use more consistent touches, for example, Advanced Touch. If it knows, and this is the power of strategies too, because since they are a search, it tries a lot of possibilities, like thousands of possibilities, before deciding what to do. And it uses the crafting simulator, right, to search. So the power of it is that if it finds a solution that has a better consistency, which means, percentage of landing a skill, then using Hasty Touch, then it'll use that. So for example, you could see here, it determined that, hey, I don't need to keep using Hasty Touches, because if I go into Advanced Touch, Great Strides, Vargot's Blessing, I just finish the craft. And by finishing the craft, I mean the quality goes full. And you can see that on the video, I guess, by going back. So it skips, it tries to finish the craft first. So the priorities of crafting strategies are like so. First, it has to finish the craft. That means it has to full the progress bar. Second, it has to full the quality bar. Third, the consistency of fulling the quality bar. So, the consistency is basically the accumulated chance of landing all skills in the sequence. For example, Hasty Touch with 90% chance times Hasty Touch plus of 90% chance, and so on. And then fourth is the steps. The less steps it takes, the better, right? But that's the fourth consideration. So it's basically like there's levels of scores on the solutions. And so it basically, if it finds it that it can finish the craft early by going into, something with Advanced Touch, something with Innovation, like it did right now, something with Great Strides and Vargot's Blessing, and it's perfectly consistent. You can see here it used Steady Hand 2, Advanced Touch, perfectly consistent, Innovation, another Advanced Touch, still with Steady Hand 2, perfectly consistent, and Vargot's perfectly consistent. Then it says, okay, I don't have to keep, finding Hasty Touch opportunities. I can just finish the crap right now with 100% chance, right? There is always the chance, and I know, that right when it's about to do Vargod's blessing, you get a poor condition, but it will then recalculate whenever the condition changes. So, for example, from normal to excellent or normal to good, it recalculates the solution, and it'll take into consideration this. But it might be a very rare circumstance in which it's about to use Vargod's blessing, and then the condition. Well, I guess it wouldn't be that way. It would be it's about to do great strides. The condition is excellent. I guess it's probably going to pick to do the Vargod's blessing here instead of the great strides. Yeah, it's most definitely going to do that. I guess there really isn't a circumstance where that's going to screw it. Well, it would screw it if it's about to do the advanced touch. No, because it'll recalculate. No, so never mind, guys. That's the funny thing about search algorithms, that you never really know how it'll behave. You can give it guidelines, but ultimately it's the search that decides what to do. But that's the beauty of it, because it makes the entire thing so general that it doesn't matter what stats, what recipe level, what player level, it'll find a solution. And it adapts to the way I did this one. It adapts to stuff like changing conditions and so on, and failing. So, for example, in the progress search, if it wasn't careful synthesis 3, let's say I'm level 1, right, and I only have basic synthesis, then the search, if it sees that you fail one of the basic synthesis, it'll recalculate again to try and complete the craft as the topmost priority. Also, when verbal arrow, when you're leveling up, will prioritize using steady hands with your basic synthesis. That's why Verminuet is such a step up. We can see that here. Let me show you. This is my solution tester, I guess. So check this out. This is something curious I noticed. If all your classes are 60, change them quickly. Right, you still don't know Hasty Touch 2, you still don't know Careful Synthesis 3, and you try to craft this recipe, which is the Blood Hemp yarn, with these stats. Check out the solution here that the search finds. So this is the solution. Basically, you can see the skills being used here, the progress, the quality, and the CP. So you can see that it starts with Comfort Zone, it goes to Inner Quiet, 3 Careful Synthesis 2, it has to Master's Mend, then Careful Synthesis 2 again, then the progress is at 520, just 1 Careful Synthesis 2 away from completing the craft, so it proceeds into Quality, uses Hasty Touches, Steady Hand 2, Master's Mend, Steady Hand 2, Basic Touch, Innovation, Advanced Touch, Great Strides, Vargod's Blessing, and finishes the craft with a unexpected quality of 2059. And you might be wondering, well, why did it use this? Why did it waste so much CP on Basic Touch and Advanced Touch? Well, again, the search decides, right? The search saw other possibilities of just going ahead with Hasty Touches and decided that those were just not consistent enough and didn't give enough quality compared to this combination. For example, if we remove that combination, let me do this quickly. Let's say we remove the Basic Touch and Advanced Touch ones, so it just uses Hasty Touch. There we go. So we are forcing it to use Hasty Touches, right? Because you might be saying, oh, well, you probably get more quality if you don't use this Advanced Touch and Basic Touch and waste so much CP there. Let's see what happens. So now, you can see that the quality, it didn't use advanced touch or any of the other touches, ended up with 14 CP, so it really used every resource available. And the quality is actually at 2038, so it's lower, a little bit lower than if you use the basic touch and advanced touch at the end. So yeah, it's basically, you know, that's the thing with crafting, right? There's so many combinations, and that's why a search like this one um, makes so much sense to solve something like crafting, right? But check this out. Check what two levels of difference make, right? For example, you can see that the best solution you can find when all your jobs are 60 is one with 2059 quality. Remember that this doesn't take into account, you know, good conditions or excellent conditions, which usually help you on the quality. And this is of course with all NQ mats. All right, 2059. Now check this out. Let's make all your levels 62, right? Now look at our uh, our result, 7,101 quality. So it's a huge jump going from 60 to 62 to craft this blood hemp yarn. It's a huge jump, right, in the solution. It's mainly because it's using Hasty Touch 2, which is far more consistent, and it's using Careful Synthesis 3, which lowers the amount of you know, durability used for this, and you know, you're also higher level, so the recipe is a little bit easier and the crafting formulas change. But you get the idea. So Lisbeth will use your best skills. We'll choose the best strategy depending on what skills you have, and I'll try, you know, to HQ your stuff. What else can I show you? So here's a little bit of an explanation of how. Well, let's look at the current state of crafting, I guess, in 3.0. Cross-class skills, they are auto-switching, or should be anyway. You can see that the strategy is slotting in the cross-class skills it needs right now. Material balancing, that's something that I think some people are confused on how Lisbeth uses HQ and NQ ingredients. Basically what it does is, depending on how many times you have to craft a recipe, it'll try to spread out the HQ materials to keep it balanced. So let me show you an example of that once it finishes here. For example, right now in this one, you can probably see it in the video if you pay attention. It used 4 HQ blood hemps, right? Because we only asked for 1 blood hemp yarn, so there really was no reason to use less. But for example, if we ask for 10 of them, and so you can see that, well, we only have 8. But if we ask for 10, it should spread them out. Let's see how that looks. All right, so you saw 3-1. It now spreads them out, right? That's the idea. So in this case, it saw that there's more iterations than there are HQ items available, so it uses only 1 HQ item per iteration. And of course, it's going to run out because I only have 8 and I asked for 10. Yeah, that's the idea. So yeah, this video is crafting. I'm going to release this patch today so that people can test it out. I'm going to start working on the manipulation 2 and prudent touch crafting strategy. The biggest problem with manipulation 2 and well, the biggest problem for me to actually make that strategy is that I am actually only level 62 on my crafting classes, and I need to test these strategies, right? So I'm gonna leave Lisbeth leveling myself up and start planning out the strategy logic. Yeah, I think this is something that a lot of people were waiting for, to migrate to Lisbeth 3.0. It still doesn't gather, and it grinds, but it still doesn't grind Stormblood mobs. We are getting there. White is helping me gathering the data for hotspot. So that's going to be faster if I do everything right. And yeah, so basically that's it. I'll see you guys next video.